And with us today, we have a special guest, Carl Shudevy, who is a part of Be the Match. Can you tell us a little bit about Be the Match and your story?
Sure can. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
So, in a nutshell, Be the Match is a team that helped save my life. So, if you want to keep it that simple, that's what I think of them. But in general, they're operated by the National Marrow Donor Program. Another way of looking at it is they manage the national registry of people that are potential donors. And really their mission is to help patients that need these stem cells find a potential donor somewhere, either domestically here in the US or internationally if needed.
And how many people need like bone marrow transplants each year?
So there's a lot, like every 3 minutes, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer.
Wow.
So by the time we finish this interview, there'll be a couple more people added to the list. So thousands of those need a stem cell in order to survive. And it's interesting, of the thousands that need them, about 70% need someone other than a local, a family member. So in my case, I have 5 brothers, 4 sisters that I love dearly, right?
Wow.
None of them were a match. So we had to go to Be the Match to start looking for a potential match as a donor for me in my case. And as we went out, really had to go international. My donor, Peter, happens to be from Germany as an example.
Wow.
So it can go outside of the US if needed.
How does a donor become a part of the registry?
So it's really pretty simple. If you were watching the news this morning, there's actually a drive today at UW La Crosse. It'll be at the Student Union from 11 to 2. If you're able to make that, perfect. You can show up there. Most people would go to bethematch.org. You'd go under the donor section and you'd answer a few questions. There's some health screening questions. If you meet that, they actually send you a kit in the mail. They give you a couple of swabs, or cheek swabs, and it's about a 10-second swab on the left side, a 10-second swab on the right side of your mouth. You put it in the envelope, send it back, you're part of the registry. So it's pretty simple and pain-free, to be honest.
And is there really anything that prevents anybody from being a donor?
Well, there are. For the most part, probably the most common restriction is you need to be between 18 and 40 years old. Really, as you're younger, your stem cell production is much more robust.
Yeah.
And so we're looking for individuals in that window. The other thing is there are some health screening questions. There's about a dozen or so things that you'll go through that may prevent you from getting into the registry, but the idea is you're between 18 and 40, we're looking for you to sign up.
Okay.
And how long does it typically take to find a match?
Well, it varies. In the case with my personal case with Peter, he had signed up about 3 to 4 weeks before because someone in his soccer club had leukemia, and they all decided, you know what, we're going to sign up in the registry. He got the phone call, agreed to be my donor, and the rest is history.
Wow.
But it can vary. Some people get a phone call that you're a potential match, and you may never get called in. It might be the patient took a turn for the worse or something else changed. And then finally, you may be in the registry for years, because once you register, they keep you in the registry until you're 60.
Right.
You may be in there for years and never get a call.
Wow.
So it just varies depending on the situation.
And I think a lot of people want to know the answer to this question. Is the procedure painful?
Excellent
For both
question. That's
people.
right where my head went when I
Yeah.
first started this whole procedure. The good news is 90% of the time, no.
Okay.
Most of the stem cells are captured what they call by peripheral. So the way I explain it, I'm not the expert here, actually they tap into one arm, draw your blood, they spin off to get the stem cells, and the blood comes right back into your other arm. So it's not too different from like giving plasma. The other 10% is actually a bone marrow type of surgical procedure. And I've gone through that 7 times. I'm still here sitting. It's not the ideal situation, but you can get through it. But 90% of the time, you don't have to do that. You're back to your normal day routine within 1 to 2 days.
And last question, what has your experience been like getting to know your donor? Do you have a relationship with him? Do you stay in touch?
Yes, we do. So the way the program works, if it's a domestic donor, you have to wait 1 year from transplant. And then you go back to Be the Match and you say, hey, I would like to meet my donor. Both parties have to agree. So if the patient doesn't want to know or the donor doesn't want to come forward like, hey, I've done my part, then that's the end. I would encourage every donor to say they want to meet their patient because we want to know who you are.
Definitely.
So typically it's within a year. If it's international, you got to wait 2 years. So in my case, we waited 2 years. We went back to Be the Match. We were told Peter's name. He's in Germany. We got in touch with him and heard nothing. Went about 6, 7 months. We thought, well, he did his part. Maybe that's as much as he wanted to do. But then he did come forward. We went and met him. We flew to Germany, met his family. We thanked him in person. Of course, there was a challenge of him speaking German and us speaking English, but we worked through that with the help of my sister Joni, who was our translator. So it worked really well, and we keep in touch with him. We send Christmas presents to each other, and it's just been awesome.
Well, thank you very much, Carl, and for sharing your story. And we hope everyone goes out and checks out Be the Match. And
Thank you, Carl.
Excellent. Thank you both for having us.
Yeah.